You've never seen anything like him. He moves like someone built in a different factory than the rest of the human race. Too fast for his size, too precise for his age, too everything. The people around you don't know what to say. They just stare. You're not watching a game. You're watching something your brain doesn't have a category for. Now imagine that feeling, except it's 50,000 years ago. There's no arena, no camera, no contract, just your tribe. And one person who is simply better than everyone at everything. What do you do with someone like that? For 99% of human history, there were no leagues, no drafts, no shoe deals. But exceptional humans have always existed. People whose physical gifts sat so far outside the normal range that the group had to make a decision about them. And that decision was almost never simple. Because in the ancient world, someone who was better than everyone else at everything wasn't just impressive. They were a problem that needed solving. Let's start with what we know. Human populations have always produced statistical outliers. Every generation, across every continent, some percentage of humans are born with combinations of size, speed, coordination, and spatial intelligence that place them in a completely different category from everyone around them. This isn't modern. This isn't new. A 2019 study published in the American Journal of Human Biology found consistent evidence of extreme physical outliers in skeletal remains across every major archaeological site examined. Exceptional humans are not a product of modern nutrition or training. They are a permanent feature of our species. So what happened to them? The first thing ancient groups did with someone extraordinarily gifted was watch them carefully. Before any decision was made about how to use a person, the group observed. Anthropologist David Geary, studying behavioral patterns in contemporary hunter-gatherer groups, documented that exceptional individuals were identified extremely early, often in childhood, through a process of continuous communal observation. Everyone in a group of 20 to 50 people watches everyone else constantly. There is no privacy, no hiding your abilities, no modesty that goes unnoticed. If you were faster than everyone, the group knew before you did. But here's where it gets complicated. In a hunter-gatherer band, being the best at something wasn't automatically a position of power. It was a position of obligation. The best hunter didn't get more food. He was expected to hunt more. The strongest person didn't get to rest. They were expected to carry more. Anthropologist Christopher Boehm spent decades studying what he called reverse dominance hierarchies in hunter-gatherer societies. His conclusion was striking. These groups actively suppressed individual dominance. If someone became too powerful, too celebrated, too obviously superior, the group pushed back. Hard. This wasn't jealousy, it was survival strategy. In a band of 30 people with no written rules and no police force, one person accumulating too much status was genuinely dangerous. It threatened the cooperative structure that kept everyone alive. So the group developed mechanisms to keep exceptional people in check. Ridicule was one. If the best hunter started acting like his abilities made him more important than anyone else, the group mocked him openly and relentlessly until he fell back in line. Demand sharing was another. Whatever the exceptional person produced, food, tools, solutions, the group expected immediate and equal distribution. Your gifts belong to everyone, and yet, the group couldn't afford to waste exceptional ability either. Because in a world where a single hunt could feed 30 people for 3 days, or a single failed hunt could mean starvation, having the best possible hunter at the front of every expedition wasn't optional. It was the difference between life and death. So ancient groups developed something remarkably sophisticated. They found ways to celebrate exceptional ability without elevating exceptional individuals. The skill was honored. The person was kept humble. This is where it gets genuinely fascinating. In 1997, archaeologist Stephen Mithen published research examining patterns of social behavior in Upper Paleolithic communities. He found consistent evidence of what he called prestige without dominance. Exceptional hunters and trackers received social rewards, better mating opportunities, greater influence in group decisions, more attention from the community. But these rewards came with strict, invisible boundaries. The moment a prestige figure attempted to convert social status into actual power, to make decisions for the group, to accumulate resources, to exempt themselves from shared obligations, the community responded with immediate and coordinated social punishment. Now let's reconstruct what this actually looked like. Imagine your group has a young man, maybe 17 or 18 years old, who is simply on a different level. He tracks prey that no one else can follow. He throws a spear with a precision and power that seems physically impossible for his frame. He reads the landscape like it's a language only he can speak. The group watches him. They talk about him constantly. Around the fire at night, his hunts become stories. His abilities become legend. But during the day, when he returns from a successful hunt, he is expected to distribute everything immediately. He eats last. He sleeps in the same place as everyone else. He is celebrated and leveled simultaneously. This sounds almost cruel, but consider what it produced. It kept the exceptional person embedded in the group rather than elevated above it. It kept their motivation tied to collective survival rather than personal gain. And it kept the group's trust intact because nobody felt threatened by someone who was visibly still one of them. The system protected the exceptional person as much as it constrained them. Because an exceptional individual who became isolated from their group in the ancient world didn't become a legend. They became prey. But not every exceptional person fit neatly into this system. Some abilities were so extreme, so far outside normal human range, that the group struggled to categorize them at all. And when humans can't categorize something, they reach for the only framework that makes sense, the supernatural. Across archaeological sites from 40,000 years ago onward, researchers have found consistent evidence of individuals buried differently from everyone else, not with more wealth, with more meaning. Ochre paintings on their bones, elaborate grave goods, positioning that suggests the group believed these individuals occupied a different category of existence entirely. Not just better humans, something else. Something between human and whatever was out there in the dark. Historian Walter Burkert spent years examining the relationship between exceptional human ability and early religious belief. His argument was direct. The first gods were probably exceptional humans, people whose abilities were so far beyond the norm that the only explanation available to the group was divine origin. You don't develop naturally into someone who can do what this person does. Therefore, something made them. And if something made them, that something deserves both fear and reverence. Today we put exceptional humans in arenas. We give them contracts worth hundreds of millions of dollars. We build entire cities around their performances. We watch them on screens in our hands from anywhere on Earth. We have constructed the most elaborate celebration of exceptional human ability in the history of our species. And yet the ancient instinct is still running underneath all of it. We love the exceptional person. We need them to perform miracles. And the moment they start acting like their gifts make them more than human, the moment they stop being humble, stop being grateful, stop being one of us, we turn on them with a speed and a ferocity that would feel very familiar to anyone who ever sat around a fire. 50,000 years ago, telling stories about the best hunter in the band. We haven't changed the system. We've just made it bigger. The arena holds 80,000 people now instead of 30. The ridicule travels at the speed of the internet instead of whispers around a fire. The demand sharing looks like charity requirements and public appearances, and the unspoken rule that greatness must always be performed with appropriate humility, or the crowd will remind you loudly that you belong to them. You always have. You always will. Because in the ancient world and in this one, the exceptional person was never really theirs. They were always ours.